What is up, hot makers? Welcome to Hot Makes, the show where we show off the hottest makes from the hottest makers. Can you guess what the name of the show is yet? First off, I want to say Jim is not here tonight, so you're stuck with my awkward booty. But Jim said that he's got some stuff going on. Nothing bad necessarily, but he said he was sick, and he's home with the boy. And I hope he gets better. But so we're not going to spend too much time dilly-dallying, but I do want to ask what you folks are drinking. And we always ask that. I had some water earlier. I am not drinking anything because I forgot to get myself a cup of coffee before I started. Anyway, welcome everybody to Hot Makes. Anything that we show off here, there's a link in the description of the video for everything we show off, including Jerrari3D stuff, which we will, we'll bring him in just a second. If you enjoy the show, please considering donating to the show's Oreo fund. Put Hot Makes in a note, and there should be a message. Nightbot should be showing a message here every now and then with a link to that. We also have super chats and such, blah, 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 all that stuff. Make sure you're watching and subscribed on the Hot Makes channel. I'm assuming you are, because we're only streaming on that. I need to update my boilerplate notes here. Some of them are. I'm just realizing how much Jim skips over when he's doing the intro. Anyway, yeah, so let's just go ahead. Our guest today is Jerrari3D. Some of you have heard of him. Some of you maybe have not. If you haven't, shame on you. Just kidding. He makes a lot of cool stuff, and I've been very familiar with his drawer designs and his home decor efforts and making things look classy but functional. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him as well. If you haven't, once you see some of his stuff, you'll probably recognize it. So anyway, Joey, you go. Give me a thumbs up if you're good to hop in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Joey Jerrari3D, how you doing, man?
Hello, doing good, doing great.
So I reached out to you a couple weeks ago. It took me a while to finally reach out because I didn't. We had like a steady guest list going for a while. And then I had people I was going to reach out to, and people from previous Rep Rap festivals and stuff that I hadn't actually followed up with. And I was just waiting for the list to kind of go dry. And then when it went dry, I started reaching out to people, and you responded immediately, and I really appreciate that. I've seen you watching the show a few times too. So anyway, to start off, for those who don't know, let people know who you are, what you do, and where people can find you.
So I'm Joey. My account is Jerrari.
Sorry, did I surprise you? You looked surprised.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, so I guess who I am. I've been just designing a lot of 3D models. I'm a graphic designer outside of this in my day job, but I do a lot of technical things. I usually work at small companies, so like the one I work at right now, I handle a lot of their website automations. I even work on a lot of the machinery. So I think that kind of goes hand in hand with working with 3D printers. Let's see what else. I kind of probably like many designers that do 3D model design for 3D printing. They probably got dragged into it in some way of just start small, and then it just kind of exploded somewhere along the way. And that's kind of what happened with my project, I would say.
So did you say you were a draft designer or a graphic designer?
Graphic designer. So
okay.
It's not really anything to do with 3D modeling, but ever since I was a little kid, I loved growing up in the 90s, it was playing the original Nintendo and Atari and everything. And I remember I got a PlayStation later on, and I was like, what are these 3D graphics? Yeah. And I don't know, getting a computer and all that stuff. And I don't know, I was just always fascinated by it. It was a whole different world to me. So I think in high school, I started just however I get my hands on software, it'd be 15-day free trial or whatever. And I'd be entering just some random company name so I could get the trial. I'd reinstall Windows multiple times so I could I
got a coworker. I got a coworker who did the math. We had a piece of software that we wanted to use. It was like an AI photo editor thing that he wanted to use, and he's like, he like did the math, and he's like, so we have so many email addresses in the building, and if I sign up with all of those email addresses, I should be able to use it for 3 months for free.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of it. I just wanted to do something in that, and then it didn't seem like there are any jobs that use 3D model unless you're like mechanical engineer or something. And no, that wasn't really my calling. But I don't know. I feel like once I got a 3D printer, I think my first one like 2018.
What model was it?
It was actually, so I was trained at a job on using the Creality CR10 S5, the 500 by 500 monster.
Yeah.
It didn't have auto bed leveling, so you had 25 points to manually level. Like my back would hurt, and I'm like, I'm in my 20s. This shouldn't happen. Anyways, I ended up. I don't know. I didn't make many projects, and I would say like probably when I was like 28, 29, I don't know. I was just thinking one day, I was kind of in between jobs, and I was like, I should build a computer case. I was like building computers.
Yeah.
And getting into it, I took an old Frankenstein computer and cut it apart. And I don't know. I was just doing things that I've never done before, kind of a learning curve. And I used, I think, Google SketchUp because I didn't even know like many of the current programs. And eventually that turned into Fusion 360. And it kind of forced me to learn that stuff. And I was measuring and modeling stuff. And then like, I was like asking one of my buddies that had a 3D printer, Kyle, he goes to the Rep festivals with me. I'm like, can you print these for me? And he's like, sure. And he printed those on his Prusa Mark II back then. And then about a year later, he sold me the Mark II. And I was running that last night. It's kind of my backup printer or my like testing on like older machine kind of printer.
Okay. Kind of making sure that your designs are, to a degree that they are, but what is it? Backwards compatible?
Yeah. Actually, that's a big thing. Cause like, I feel like I get home from work and I have to do a lot of tech support.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I kind of expect it.
Is it people reaching out, trying to figure out sorry, I just noticed some cat hair on that thing. That's weird. Do you have people reaching out, like having issues printing things to like the specs that they need to for things to work properly?
Yeah, sometimes it's like if dimensions are slightly off. It's funny. I see TechJeeper mentioning Ender 3. Like Ender 3, I actually Ender 3, and I mean, for the price, it gets you into it. But man, oh man, there's so much manual adjustment, and especially like for a lot of years when I was starting this, it was a lot of Ender 3 users, and you're like, your tolerance is like, no, things aren't fitting, and they'd send pictures, and you could just tell it was like warped, or like, like some of my stuff, it takes a little bit of precision, but I do design like a kind of a balance between like tight fit and slop, like you got to find like the right amount. And it was just a lot of like, how are you using glue? How are you doing to create this? Like, what's going on here? Or like horrible layer shifts and all that. But I do run into some of those things on my Mark II, or just, I don't know, having a printer out in the open in the cold environment or something and do goofy stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you can run into what you need to on a Prusa Mark II for the most part, that most people run into with most of their older printers.
I have to laugh TechJeeper. That did happen to me.
I hate it when that happens.
I would actually like some people. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm usually nice, but I don't get worked up about it because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I failed you or what, but obviously something happened, and I'll be like, kind of try to help them work through it. And one guy went from 1 star to 5 star after I did that. I'm like, okay, gotcha. So that was kind of funny. But
it's that customer service, man.
Yeah, and I'm like at work, I don't like answering phones. I don't like doing any of that. But like I don't know. I guess with 3D printing, it's like, yeah, I don't know. We live it, so it's really easy to answer questions, I guess.
So you were saying last year you went to all the Rep Rap festivals, and I don't think I knew like who you were in. Like this is my first time seeing your face in like, so I didn't know you were there necessarily.
Right.
Did you have any like? Hang on. Did you have like maker coins or anything?
Yes.
I think I might have one of yours. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I have one.
I'm trying to think if I have one in here.
I've got like 3 bags of. What happens is I collect all my like maker coins and like stickers and stuff from events, and they all go in like one like bag from the weekend, and then I come home and I don't know what to do with all of them, so I put it next to the other bags and I just dig through them every now and then. Like, I need to find a way to actually display things. Well, I'm pretty sure I have.
I think you've seen this one because
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I do have one of yours. Would I have gotten that from you, or
you might have?
Would they been
my friends?
Table?
Yeah. Last year was the first year I did any 3D printing event. So even though I've been in this for a while, like I knew a lot of like you guys and everything. Just I don't know. I was more of like, oh, I'll go on YouTube and watch some stuff over the years and learn some things. And I mean, I don't know how long I've been watching like Joel and Stefan and all of them. And it was really funny because like I had a crazy plan of just my buddy and I driving out to Colorado just to check it out, the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I was like, you'd be standing there and you hear a familiar face and you're like, oh, it's Stefan. But I didn't talk to a lot of people. I think I knew Pooch and 3D Print Bunny and everyone like I've talked to online or something. And it was cool meeting them in person. And but I was still like really quiet because I was like, oh, it's hard to gauge yourself. I would say. But after that event, I was like, all right, I'm gonna set up my own table. And the Midwest or Murph, that's like 5 hours from here. So I'm like, oh, that'll be easy. So I crammed like everything in my car and headed there. And
I think that's the only one that I'm not going to this year because the plane ticket prices were ridiculous. Like for instance, to go to Rocky Mountain, it was like $700 or $800 ish for Sarah and I to both get tickets to fly up there. But to go from Little Rock to either South Bend or Fort Wayne, which are the only 2 airports you can get to get to Goshen, it was like $1,400.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I know. So that just like completely took me out of the running for that. But because I feel, I mean the it's not Pandora's box. I don't know what I'm trying to think of, but the I was at CMCNC when Murph got started. And then I was there every single year, and it was kind of like a thing where it's like, no matter what I make it to, I have to make it to Murph every year because it's not my thing, but it's like my thing, And then there was one year that I finally missed. So since then, it's just kind of like spotty of whether or not I'm going to go. Like I've already broken the streak. That's what I was trying to get to. I already broke the streak, so it's like. But I mean, I would like to, because I've got a lot of friends. That's where I grew up. I grew up not in Goshen, thank God, but I grew up in the northern Indiana area. Went to school in Fort Wayne. I was born and raised in South Bend and Mishawaka and Niles, Michigan, and all that. And so driving up there and seeing, having an opportunity to see all of my old friends. A lot of people who go to the Rep Rap festivals are people that I knew in town. Because of working at CMCNC and stuff, and I'm kind of sad that I'm not making it as often as I used to. But
well, I think they moved the date since last year was the first year I went. I didn't really know, but I think it was at a different time of the year before, and like last year it conflicted with that YouTube event in
Open Sauce.
Open Sauce, yeah. They were like really close, and then there was Rapid, I think. was in California. So it was like everyone just stayed in California, like YouTubers and everything. So there wasn't a lot of that presence, I think, at Murph. And then, but I still had a great time. Like that was the first time I ever set up a table, and I had people walk up and like, hey, I downloaded your stuff. And I'm like, really? You know what my stuff is? And then I found out there was quite a bit of that, or just like, you know, father and son or daughter would walk up and, oh, we're going to print this. And then they, I don't know. I lost my voice the first day just from talking to people. And I mean, that was fun. Like, I couldn't believe how much fun that was. So, yeah, I'm definitely going again this year. And then the last one I did, obviously, was 3D Printopia. And that was...
See, you were at all the events I was at last year, and I just didn't...
I know. Yeah, I was they had all of us like upstairs, like a lot of the designers at 3D Printopia. So it was kind of hard to get down there, but
so were you up in the area like on the like running track or whatever on the second floor? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I basically went up there for hot dogs. So I didn't really... I know. Yeah.
So I mean, we still got like Joel came up there.
Yeah.
And like I think Pooch did too. It was great. Like I was like you know, it's like we know all the people like we've grown like ever since getting into 3D printing, you know, there's those people like you learn from, or you just liked what they did. And like I remember the last day I was there, because I'm trying to escape and check things out too, because it's like you get kind of busy at the booth.
Yeah.
And I gotta give credit to Ellie from Coco Press, because she's the one who introduced me to Joe Prusa, and I was like, yeah. I'm a little, you know, I don't like just like walking up and being like, hello, you know.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So
that's awesome.
That was fun.
And Ellie's one of the reputation per I don't know. Ellie said that you were the coolest when we posted that you were going to be on. I don't remember if it was on. We talked a little bit in the green room. I don't remember if it was there, but I was like, your reputation, I can't say the word reputation, precedes you. And that was part of the reason why. Because if Ellie says you're the coolest, then you're pretty cool.
I know. I wanted to check out, because like I remember seeing Coco Press at Rocky Mountain and got to eat a piece of chocolate. And check out their cool like flippy, I don't know, they have one of those flipping screens.
Yeah. Really like a split flap display.
Yes. Yeah. And but I didn't get to really look too closely at their machine. And yeah, so I'm gonna check that out next time I see your booth. So, but no, it was such a cool event.
I'm gonna do my best to try to keep track of comments, but when I'm really bad at keeping track of comments when it's just me and a guest. But
yeah.
I did want to mention Silverback Creations South Bend put new bleachers in the high school when they built it. Are you talking about John Adams, or which school are you talking about? We're talking about the Eagles, because I want to know. And also Tech Jeeper says, flying to Grand Rapids, I'll drive you to Goshen. I don't know how long that drive is, but if the plane tickets are significantly cheaper between Little Rock and Grand Rapids, and it's not too bad of a drive, then you know what? That might actually be an option. So I'll reach out to you after this.
Yeah, there's a lot of airports
down the hill behind the gym. Down the hill behind the gym. Was it across the street from a college and next to a botanical garden, and across the other street from Potawatomi Zoo? I don't know about the huge track down the hill behind the gym, but he says yes. Oh, that was my high school. That was my high school. So you put the bleachers in at John Adams. That's awesome. That's hilarious. I never realized that we were okay. Anyway, sorry, I really need to go there for a second, because it's one of those things where I was talking to John from Thangs, and he's from, I think, Grand Rapids area or whatever. Oh, wow. I'm not sure. Somewhere not too far away from where I grew up in the Niles area, and I was like, I had no idea you were right there. So I love those kinds of things. But Anyway, I think I interrupted you, and I don't remember where you were at. I'm sorry.
No, I think I was just talking about Murph and
Yeah.
I guess 3D Printopia. But no, I'm actually already planning on all the things I want to do to get ready for the next one. So
So which one are you? What do you? So are you going to go to Rocky Mountain this year?
No.
Oh!
I'm already going to well, I have a vacation in Arizona like a few weeks later, and then I gotta go to Vegas for work. So I'm like, it's just
oh,
I
have to go to Vegas for work.
I know.
Oh.
And what's funny is like I work trade shows a lot of times when we do that. I have to set them up. I actually just designed this year's trade show booth. So doing
that's awesome.
These rep rap festivals, I think a little bit like that. Like I do a little bit of marketing, like, all right, what works, what doesn't work. And like when I display this stuff, like, you know, I'll put stuff out and the next day I'll move it around and just kind of see like, I don't know what works. But I noticed like my stuff, like my logo, that was probably the biggest realization last year was like a lot of people are getting into the hobby for the first time and they don't know anything about my project or who I am or anything. So I'm like, I gotta do better at like, I don't know. I look at that and I'm like, to me, I know what it is, but to someone walking up, it's just like the McDonald, you know, not the McDonald M or McDonald's M, you know, like you recognize what that is. So I'm like, I gotta make things a little more clear. So it's
other than a J, what is it? Is it something? Is it something other than a stylized J?
It really is a stylized J. I was in Fusion 360 and I drew a circle and did some other stuff, and it kind of looks like that. And a lot of times with logo design, that's how things just kind of you work your way for it out to be. But no, it was the first one I ever did in Fusion. That's not really a program I would do logos in. And I modified it a little bit along the way, and like the white areas were kind of like I was thinking of like, you know, the path that your filament would travel or something to make that. So it was kind of a little bit, you know, of that. But I usually don't like the logos I make, and like that was the first one I was like, I like this. So
yeah, and that's why earlier when I couldn't fully understand what you said. I asked if you were drafts or if you said you were draft design or graphic design. Because one of the things I did want to mention here is I'm a big fan, like I've been in marketing for a long time. I went to school for graphic design and I love it when
nice.
And I'm not going to not to like how do I want to be careful. There are a lot of designers and popular designers that make a lot of really cool stuff for, you know, and they post them on Things and Maker World and all that stuff. That you can tell that their only avenue or one of their primary avenues really is the 3D design, and there isn't a whole lot of 2D graphic design you know, experience there. You can tell, and that's fine. You know, there's some charm to a lot of that, but there's a few people where you look at their stuff and you're like, this guy's got some branding going on too, like Forge Core and yeah, like Forge Core and the Kit Kiln and Zombie is really good with his branding too. And yours is one of them where I'm like, okay, there were a couple more that I saw recently on, I forget if it was Printables or Maker World, but I remember I saw a couple more recently where I was like, that extra layer of professionalism on top of the designs being good is something that always stands out to me, is the point that I was trying to get to. Do you do a lot of your like graphics and stuff yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I do a lot of like 3D rendering. So I was one of those like college students that was not sure what I wanted to go to school for. So
Same.
I went to community college for like, you know, it's supposed to be a 2-year college. I think I was there for like 4 or 5 years, honestly, doing like graphic design. I took computer classes, how to like, you know, I was thinking about was it, A+ certification. I didn't go
Yep,
that far.
dude, that's what I did too in high
Nice.
school. I did dual course or dual credit courses during my junior and senior year
Oh yeah,
for getting my CompTIA.
that was
And
a very similar background.
yeah, I was going for my CompTIA and my networking and security plus, and then I also did graphic design and web development to see which one stuck. And I ended up going in college. I ended up going down the graphic design route, and then ended up doing photography. And that's another thing that stands out to me is your photography always looks fantastic in your
Oh
posts
yeah,
as well.
like that was okay. So that was the other thing. I didn't do photography till like later on in college,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up taking majority because you got to take like fine art classes, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. It was never really what I was passionate about, and like photography. Once I took like one class on it, I'm like, this is amazing. You know? So,
Yeah.
And then it got into, I went to Saginaw Valley State University, and I'm there for a few years, and they had like actual film, and that they're like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
this is a dying art, like it's gonna go
Yeah.
away and everything. And I made sure, like, I'm like, I want to try that, and that was by far the funnest thing. I took a like one of their capstone photography classes, which was
Mm-hmm.
you had to make your own camera. So it was
Yeah.
pinhole, but it was like you had to use math, you had to build stuff. I ended up
Ooh.
finding a gourd in the wood, or in the
Seriously?
forest.
A
Yeah, a
gourd?
gourd that was dried up and everything, so it was just like a hard shell.
Yeah.
And I ended up like putting film in there and making 2 pinholes on it that I could expose. And it take like 15-20 minutes to expose the photo, and then you develop it in the dark room, and it was
Yeah.
really cool photos. But I remember going into like our museum at the college, and I'm like, can I take a photo in here with my camera? And they're like just looking at me like the weirdest, because I'm just holding this board, you know.
Yeah.
And but like I should find those photos sometime. Like actually, like the statues down in Detroit, like what's the Spirit of Detroit, where it's like the
Yeah,
he's
it's
like they always put the
isn't
jerseys
it like
on
the
them.
industrial? Is it like a statue of an industrial worker or something? What is it? What am I? No, I'm thinking of a different town.
Yeah, this one, I think it's like the Spirit of Detroit. If I'm probably wrong, but I'm trying to think. He's holding like a moon or something in one hand. I haven't looked too closely at it, I guess, but it's made by
Spirit of Detroit. Oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Marshall Fredericks designed that one, and we had the Marshall Fredericks Museum. So like I have a photo of that, and it's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, or the was it, he tests it out before he makes the big statue. So anyways, yeah, that's going kind of far off, but you know, I loved learning all those like wide range of things in college. And then after I graduated, I don't know if it was like this for you, but in the graphic design field, it was so much more competitive than I was expecting. And I'm not very competitive at all. Like I'm just like, I don't know, if you want someone better, just go around. But
yeah, that's and the problem is there not only is there a lot of competition, but there were a lot of people who were for lack of a better way of putting it, they were becoming successful with very little effort, and it was very discouraging having gone to school that long for something. And then what happened with me was I ended up taking I flopped back and forth between photography and graphic design majors, and I couldn't figure out why neither of them were sticking to me. Graphic design, I understood the rules and I was able to get good grades on my projects, but it was boring to me in a way. And then photography was interesting, but it wasn't quite totally capturing my focus. And then I took one intro to film class, and I was like, oh, yeah, the moving picture, the editing afterwards, the sound design. Now I get it. But yeah, I was right on that cusp of like, I was like, well, yeah, and this seems like a better career path to go down than graphic design at that time. And now I'm kind of glad I did it, you know, because now everybody's a graphic designer. I mean, to a degree, everybody's a videographer because everybody has a camera on their phone. But it's harder to do high quality videography, you know, because there's so many extra components to it, between the sound, the lighting, the composure, you know, the talent, that kind of stuff, versus, you know, it's a little bit easier to kind of make your way through graphic design and it still looks good, you know?
Yeah. And you gotta be like really adaptable. Like things that I remember we learned, like Photoshop and all that stuff. I still use, I mean, like when I do like
Yeah.
my photos of things, like putting I guess trying to put logos and different things on them to specify what they are.
Yeah.
That stuff's kind of the same that I've always done, but there's so many things like AI introduced now.
Yep.
And actually I use that a lot. So like I'll take a photo and like I upload now on 4 different websites, and they all love to use
different
different dimensions, right? So
that
like
drives
I'll
me
like
nuts.
I'll bring my photo in, and I'm like, shoot, it's like, if only it was taller. And then it's like, well, I'll use the generative expand now in Photoshop, and it just creates, like, okay, well, I don't have a plant there, but it added a plant. Who cares? Whatever.
That's been helpful. Yeah, that's been helpful. And see, but you're starting with a good photo, and you're starting with some good, some good content. And that's the thing is like, I'm all for AI usage as much as you can, or as much as you want to, but as long as it enhances what somebody's doing and it doesn't it's not the only component to something that is made.
Right.
Like it's otherwise it just, there's stuff that feels so fake now with so much of the AI stuff. And then there's stuff that just looks so good and you can't really it's kind of like, it's kind of like, to draw a parallel again to film, it's like CG, and unless it's advertised as an animated CG movie, like for the most part, the goal of good CG is not to see it, because you need to use it to enhance what you're already filming, and if you just do something kind of like a lot of people hate on the prequels because of all the blue screen and green screen stuff, and there is, a lot of that stuff looks good still, but there's some stuff where it's like, yeah, that's green screen.
Don't watch your favorite movies from 2004 and
no.
You're like, oh, I remember this looking a lot better.
So one of my all-time, to go off on like a quick side rant, one of my all-time favorite movies is Oblivion, from 2012 or 2013
with Tom Cruise.
Yes, with Tom Cruise. Yes.
The soundtrack was M83.
Yeah.
I love the soundtrack to that movie.
Oh yeah.
That's a good.
I think it's happened a few times since then, but that was the time. That was kind of a time where M83 and Daft Punk were the only two like electronic artists that came up with a score, like a cinematic score, for Tron Legacy and for Oblivion. But one of the things I always loved about Oblivion is, there's definitely some green screen and some digital aspects, but for the most part, a lot of that movie was practical. They actually they didn't build the cockpit and put them in front of a blue screen. They built the whole damn bubble ship, on a platform. Wow. Yeah. And that was one of the first times they started using like the rear projector screen stuff, like what Disney does now with the volume. That was the first time I'd ever seen that, was in the behind the scenes of that movie. And they actually built out the whole that whole house, that full glass and the reflective surfaces house and stuff like that. They built the whole thing out on a soundstage, and all of the sky and everything was on those rear projection screens. So they didn't have to do any CG other than kind of touching things up every now and then, or maybe removing some cameras and some reflections. And that's the kind of stuff that, like, to kind of circle it back, it's like the stuff that will really last. I think the stuff that we're still going to see in the next 20 years or something like that is the stuff where it's not the stuff where AI is the only thing that's used. It's the stuff where AI enhanced what was already being done that was successful.
Right. And to like add to that too, like I've been starting to use like ChatGPT a lot more.
Same.
More for like statistical like stuff or spreadsheets, because like a lot of the things I'm working on, there's so much variation of things, and I'm like, you give it some parameters and you're like, can you just generate this Excel spreadsheet for me in this way? And sometimes it goofs up, but most of the time I'm like, that just saved me a lot of time that I can now use for 3D modeling. So
and for me, it's complex formulas in Excel too, where it's I know what I want to do, and I could spend the next hour figuring out how, like, going on multiple forum posts and figuring out like different elements that might work together in a formula. Or I could just take the concept that I'm trying to do, have ChatGPT come up with the formula, and then plug it into the cell, and then it just works. Where it's like, okay, now I did 3 hours worth of work in 15 minutes and I can go off and work on something else. But I came up with the concept, it was my idea and it was what I wanted to do with the spreadsheet. It just helped me get there. And that's kind of like,
and then you can ask it to talk to you like they're like ChatGPTs from the northern Michigan, and the accent of that, it's crazy. It's just fun, and effective, So but I agree. It's one of those things. For it to create good stuff, you have to also put good stuff in. So, it's just I'm nervous about it, but then I'm also like, all right, I need to learn how to use this tool. And I'm one of those people. I'm like, if there's something new, I'm like, even if I don't want to, I'm like, I still need to like build interest in some way of like using it. I was really disappointed when AI, some of the features I saw come into like Photoshop and everything, and I'm like, man, I always wanted to do something with that, and now it's like kind of pointless.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Oh, I do want to jump over. I see it. TechJeeper asked, "Have you ever done a 3D printed camera?"
Oh yeah, I was going to say that earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. So two things. Well, I guess one thing now. TechJeeper mentioned the 3D printing camera. I actually saw something recently where somebody 3D printed a Polaroid. It was a YouTube video, and I was trying to Google it really fast without like seeming like I was ignoring you, but I can't find it. Of course, I searched 3D printed Polaroid, and the second thing, I didn't realize Polaroid had a 3D printer. Apparently, that's a thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
It looks like a giant Polaroid camera. It's white and black, and it's got the rainbow stripes on the side, and they've got their own filament and everything. It's super cool looking, but like, come on,
sweet,
like the Dremel 3D printer. We don't need it. But somebody had I think it was like toast. It was like a toasty thing, or like a toaster 3D printer, or 3D printed Polaroid, something like that.
Okay.
So somebody knows what I'm talking about.
So like that would be the one thing holding me back is like if I made a camera, it'd be a film camera, but I don't have a dark room. It's a lot of work, but
yeah,
but a Polaroid, I could totally do a Polaroid camera.
Like design one.
Yeah, because it's so different than film. I have
it's different than a gourd. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. A gourd was a little weird because it's concave. So the film, I had to use like paper and kind of like put it like it was kind of hard. I think I used tape to stick it in there a certain way, and that was fun though, just seeing how it would develop. Because like your normal cameras have a flat sensor or a flat piece of film, so they distort things if they're fisheyed. But like a gourd or something concave actually kind of corrects for that because it itself is concave. So that's kind of a unique thing. We don't. I wonder
if there's a way you could design a 3D printable camera that has some sort of modular component where you can take a piece out take a flat piece out and put a curved piece in to get that same kind of corrective effect that you found with the gourd, but it's just a piece that you swap out or something,
That's true. Okay, yeah. I'll have to think about that because like I have all my stuff from school that like all the math, all that stuff. It's not rocket science, but it'd be interesting to try. Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel kind of bad because we've been chatting for a while now, and we haven't even really talked about what you do and what's you. I feel kind of bad that we haven't gotten there yet. But tell us about. So let's talk about. One of the things you mentioned in the form that you filled out, which I appreciated that before the show, is talking about designing for a full system versus designing like one part or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I was going to bring that up because like a lot of designers, I mean, some of them follow this route, but like I was going through today and I was kind of looking at my first like maybe 20 models I uploaded. I started on printables and they were all over the place. I mean, like printables sometimes would do their competitions or little challenges here and there. So like I make like a board game piece and this or that, and I made some pretty successful models too that were for holding like Ryobi tools.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, the batteries and everything, and it was like I'd always try to find something that worked a little different, and like I didn't want the batteries to like
for a good grill. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. but yeah, no, it was one of those things where it was like, I don't know, you just try a couple different things. And a lot of those things, honestly, I was making for myself.
Yeah.
And some things never caught on, but that was okay. I was just sharing just to share it. Like, you didn't get any points back. I think it was until like 2022. So for the first 2 years I was uploading stuff, I was just doing it for fun. And then sometimes you get feedback to make it better, kind of thing. And but no, my first model I actually uploaded on there was a drawer. It'd be the Gen 1 in a way. And it was I bought my buddy's Prusa Mark II, and the big thing to do at that time was put it in an enclosure. And so I built the lac enclosure at that time with the IKEA lac tables.
Okay.
And then I was just like, where do I put the tools and stuff? Because I mean, that printer, you're always working on something.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I'm like, well, I looked for, was it Thingiverse was like the big thing for a long time. And I remember just looking for like hour or two, and I couldn't find like any drawers, that anything I could think of that I could just print to just store stuff. So
yeah,
I'm like, I'll just try to make my own. And so I made a drawer, really simple one that just screwed up, like just 4 wood screws or whatever.
Yeah.
Case, and then put it in there. And I still have that one, and it's no different than my current drawers. Like the drawer itself, like
that's awesome.
It's revised a little bit, but I could take that drawer out and put it into my latest system. And that was something I just wanted to be compatible.
Yeah.
But anyways, fast forward a few years later, I was like, I wanted to make more drawers, and I'm like, man, the annoying thing is like, if I want to show these, like take photos of them or something, because I was starting to think like uploading, for people to download more than my use case. And I'm like, it sucks. Like the Gen 1 ones were such a pain to install. And I'm like, I wish I could just like remove them and like swap them. And that's where I eventually came up with, I don't have the Rails with me, but the rail system that you mount under the table. And you just slid it in, you take one screw, screw it in place. So it was like in a few minutes, you could have it installed. And if you wanted to uninstall it, you just unscrew it and take it out. And, time went on. I kept making more things because I'm like, oh, this is great. I could just like swap things out and design pretty rapidly different iterations of that to like, whereas like, you could like do like, a steel sheet holder for your printer, and all that stuff. And it wasn't until last year, like things really started like picking up last year after I came out with the quick lock system, which replaced that whole like you had to like screw it in place thing. And all that was that's a bad one. Some of these are really old, like early prototypes, like you print some and you're like, there we go, they're the right size. Some of the models you're like, nope, that's permanent. Anyways, like it's just this little guy. If you guys haven't seen it before,
I have.
Yeah. So this was crazy. I spent, I don't know how long. Like I was originally thinking of putting this like sideways in these, and it was just everything not working the way I wanted. And like you could still pull it out and everything. And eventually, I remember one day I was taking a shower and I was just like, wait, why don't I just put it in the sidewall?
That's how it happens, man. That's how it happens. Taking a shower or driving to work or something.
Oh, that's the other. Yeah, I'll have another one when I was driving from work. But anyways, I just snapped in there, and like that completely eliminated the whole point of like having to screw it. And it was like you could change them as long as the quick locks are functioning well and everything. You could swap them in and out really quick.
Do you primarily print them in PETG or PLA or
these? So like I usually look up, I mean, not always, but just for like, I'll test a few things out, but like I looked up like properties of a lot of things, and like PLA would start to sag after a while. And so like these, I usually just tell people to print everything out of PETG, but honestly, like they can do PLA or whatever they want. But like these, PETG just has really good springing characteristics, and like it doesn't it will lose its spring a little bit, but I've had some of these for, I don't know, 2 years now, and like they still function fine.
Yeah.
So it's probably like more strenuous things I would struggle with, but yeah, that ended up being like a good aha moment for me, because I was like, oh man, now I can do all sorts of crazy things with that.
So James the printer says quick locks are like a torture test for your printer. What does he mean by that?
Oh, well, I guess
a torture test.
Maybe like an Ender 3 or so. Like I will get people that like what could happen this. So I do want to make a video on this eventually, like a troubleshooting guide, because and I mean, it's not always Ender 3s. It could just be a regular printer. Maybe the fan is blowing too hard, or like stringing's occurring, but like there's a channel in here that it snaps into, and what like sometimes could happen is like maybe debris builds up in there or something, and it just doesn't like work quite as perfect as you want. So I mean, these are things like this. I've done, I don't know how many revisions of it just to make it better and better and better. I mean, the first one worked well, and now I just got it working pretty good. But I don't know. I'm kind of keeping like a wish list for like if I ever come out with a completely new generation of stuff. But I'm kind of like staying away from that because I don't want to lose compatibility with all the stuff. And I guess that's a couple things like I want to talk about too, is like if you're designing for a system, you can like compatibility is a big thing, because like I have a lot of people that I don't want them to be like, oh, this doesn't fit. Why doesn't it fit? And I'm like, I wanted to be able to them to take their old models and still repurpose at least most of it. So just like my old drawer from like the Gen 1, like it still works fine with us. I'll just have people download the wrong thing, and it's like you can still make it work, So
is it
okay. That's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's Tony Wright helped out with that. And then TechJeeper says, what is the lock for? If I'm understanding correctly, the lock is so that you can snap the drawer in, right? Or snap the drawer frame in.
So actually, let me see here. I'm trying to figure out what I was gonna do with these. So
can you show us a little bit of the system?
Yeah, absolutely. I was
what's going on? Are you changing camera angles on me?
I am. Is that gonna mess you up?
Oh, yeah. Well, it didn't go to the. What? I came in with the multiple cameras.
There we go. Yep. So
That's
this
awesome.
camera is okay. It's a little funky, but
I like the two-tone ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That you normally can't do. That was on the Prusa XL. So that's the only printer that would efficiently, do that. So let me just release this here. Some of my prototype drawers are not the ideal ones. I was running out to the garage today and just grabbing like different ones. And
was that when we hopped on in the green room beforehand?
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
Let me grab.
I hopped in and I saw you like on the little cameras, and I popped both cameras up, and you weren't there anymore. And Sarah laughed from across the house because I was like, "Oh, hey, Joey!" And I was like, "Oh, well, hey, Wall."
Oh, this was a weird prototype drawer. There we go. Yeah, sometimes like I'll model stuff and the shapes of them like I don't know. It's like you think you have everything perfect, and then once you print it, you're like, oh, there's that one little thing. It's like, okay, I gotta fix it. So that usually ends up being my drawers before everyone downloads them. So I just want to make sure they work well and everything, because there's a few little complicated things that you run into. But yeah, the quick lock basically functions.
And it's so cool that it doesn't need any hardware or anything.
Yeah. So and that's my goal, is like less and less hardware. There's still like a few screws that you got to use, but for the most part, like this is all like one thing now. And then I came out with the tabletop.
I thought Gridfinity cap there, right?
Yeah, so this is the new cover. My camera's really zoomed in. So this you can, I gave away some of my prints as like gifts during Christmas, so I was trying to find all the stuff. But this design, you can actually stagger. It's in 2 halves, and you with a smaller printer, you can end up making a wider like cover and a wider foot section. So you really, I mean, you can make as wide of a storage unit as you like, but yeah, see, like this will. Oh, sorry. That's when my printer is done. I get alerts now.
Oh, that's awesome. Ding, fries are done.
Yep. That's it. So yeah, that's
awesome.
That section, and then like here's the foot rail area, and like some of these parts being in layers. I guess like the top and bottom is in 2 parts, and or each top is in 2 parts, bottom's in 2 parts, and they don't make a ton of sense when you're just doing like something like this. But when you start going wider and staggering them, that's where it starts making sense. So that's how like the unit goes together.
That's so cool.
The other thing I want to show is like this is the decor drawers. And what makes them kind of unique was when I started the project, I was using Prusa Orange, and that's an expensive filament. I don't want to burn through all of it. I'm like, oh man, well, I guess like this one I printed in Prusa Orange, but I'm like, how can I make it so that I can print with a cheaper filament and then swap out the faceplates? And it was kind of like a for me thing, but then at the same time, it ended up being like, oh, that's a great idea, actually. So I came up with this. It's a rail system on the front, and like all these little holes. You obviously don't need all of them. There's just one on here. And once you slide it in there, you usually just put 1 screw in there, and it holds it all in place.
That's so cool.
And this system,
I love that kind of like. See, okay, there's a lot of like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but there's a lot of like genuine coming out of you right now, because like you mentioned earlier how you had the old Nintendos and then you got the PlayStation, and you were really interested in those kind of like old school like graphics and designs and stuff. And here I'm looking at some very like that corner, the handle, with the polygons on it. It looks like a drawer.
Yeah,
it looks like a drawer in like PS1 graphics. So like there's still like all these things that are elements of your character are still coming out.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the style too, where I was like trying to balance something that looked industrial, yet you could print this in wood or something. I had a really cool one that because now when I upload it, I have an option where you can do 2-tone, and I did Prusa Galaxy Black down here, and then orange up here, and it looks so good. But I don't know where I put that, but and the other function too was the label.
Yeah, see, that is so handy.
Yeah, because like it drove me nuts. Not like I'd make the drawers, but I didn't like.
So wait, did those labels slide onto the same rails as the handle?
Actually, I was thinking about that originally, and then I ended up just adding rails to the print itself.
To the handle?
Yeah, to the handle, and then just
the faceplate or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I have revision ideas where it's not going to lose compatibility, but I like to make it so it snaps on there a little more.
Okay.
So that was something users were requesting. But like this is an example of like one of the drawers. Like instead of just being a normal drawer, I made like a filament.
Yeah.
So
like a swatch book.
Yeah, exactly. So or like this one's Gridfinity.
I love that.
So
that's so cool.
I do run into like a lot of people are like,
and you actually put magnets in your Gridfinity.
Yeah, I'm starting to get fancy with it. I was not a Gridfinity magnet user at first, and
I'm still not.
I'm forever changed. Well, okay, there's a tool. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's like where you just push it, and it just I don't know. It might be easier if I just show it to you. But it's as soon as you push it down, it's like a magazine of
Magnet.
magnets goes down, and then you
a magnet zine, if you will.
Okay, yeah, and it's like you just exactly. Yeah, you just push it into place.
Okay.
And you push it again and put it in.
Like an upside down Pez dispenser of Smarties.
Yeah. And
but the Smarties are magnets.
Yeah. That thing is life changing because it's like otherwise you got to figure out your polarity and all that stuff. Yeah,
that's I didn't know that was a thing. I have to look that up.
Here,
the
actually,
magnet loader thing. I think Tony got just as descriptive about it as we did.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I will share it because it is honestly one of my most favorite things I printed this year. Because I'm like, this thing is.
Oh, it's a printed thing.
Oh yeah, it's printed. It's
better.
So useful. I actually heard about it on the Hackaday podcast, and usually when I hear it on there, it's usually a pretty good thing. Where did I? Okay, there we go. Can I join chat?
Yeah, there's also you should be able to on the right hand side.
Okay. Oh, I gotta log in. All right. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. No worries.
Okay, that didn't work. But I'll send it to you on
there's also a private chat too.
Okay.
On
there we go.
StreamYard. Oh, there it is.
Okay. That's the tool. That tool is pretty darn awesome.
Let me see if I can. I forgot that if Jim's not here, I got to present my screen anyway. So this gives me a reason to.
Oh yeah.
Chrome tab, Chrome window. There we go.
While you do that, I'm gonna work on just like assembling this.
I gotta resize the window though, so it's not tiny. There we go. Yeah, this thing. That is more intense than I was expecting it to look.
Yeah.
That's so smart though.
It's not very ergonomic, but it works so darn good.
No, it's about as ergonomic as a brick.
Yeah.
So how does okay, so are there different sizes for different size magnets too?
Yeah. So I downloaded the 6x2 for Gridfinity. Or 6. Oh, what is it?
Oh no way! What?
Yeah,
the magnet goes down the thing.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just a solid piece of plastic, but inside there's a piece that you put magnets on, and it's plunging down and pulling the next magnet in the magazine along, and just stopping it right at the end.
That's crazy.
It's like magic. It's really yeah, we should be talking about that one and not my stuff. I'm kidding.
No, that's cool.
It's super cool.
I can't believe I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture of it in use.
That should be my hot make right there.
That's cool.
Hot pick.
I did not know this was a thing that existed, but now I know. Problem is that the tool is cool, but that doesn't change the fact that I would have to get a bajillion magnets to.
Right.
Using all
but you get stuff. What I buy $15, you get 400 of the magnets. So
shut up. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
Yes, it's really not. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, magnets are pricey, but for whatever reason, the ones I think Zach Friedman kind of knew what he was doing when he came up with. I think he came up with the magnet insert design. But that was really clever to use that size because
that makes more sense now. Yeah,
cheap. It's really cheap. So,
I love. So back to I love the name tags, and I love the ones that looks like you have one of them there too. I love the ones that have a little bit more of a and those ones too. Yeah, I love that. Love it.
That's Karen Chow's design.
I know. Karen. I reached out to Karen to see if she wants to come on the show sometime, and she said yes, but scheduling conflicts at the moment. But always with Karen's designs, I just they're so cute. I love them. Sarah loves them too. But so do you? I guess that leads me to a question that I had with the and I guess it's easier for anybody to download a file and modify it to a degree, but do you have kind of a blank
like template?
template or canvas for the rails for the front drawer? I'm assuming you do for the name tags, so you can make whatever name tag you want. But
so, yeah, so I sort of do. This is actually leading into something because I want people to be able to design the front.
Yeah.
So I am working on template. I think I'm kind of at that awkward stage where I'm like, I'm about ready to rename the entire system because right now I got a terrible nomenclature where it's like standard, mini, and medium, but mini is bigger than that. And then there's all those things, and they don't mean anything at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually reached out to a bunch of like club members and everything. I'm like, what would work? And everyone's like, just put the size. So I'm just going to start naming it like a numerical system. I don't know. BMW does that.
Is that going to be like a Gen 3, or is that going to be a like you're just kind of changing the existing?
Yeah. So like if you go on my website, you'd end up seeing like there's like standard drawers and all that stuff.
You say that and Battlecry said Grande, and all I can think of is that
Grande.
That
yeah.
All I can think is that video with Paul Rudd when he's at the not Starbucks. He's like, congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
yeah, but he's exactly right. So like I'm gonna change. I think it's like 185, and then I might do like standard and little text just so people can cross-reference it. So I'm gonna do some stuff like that. But anyways, in that process, like how I have them set up, like a normal, like this is a 1x1 drawer. I consider it. This is like the original
I love that
drawer.
Style too. That kind of like deco style.
And it's wood filament. So I was playing. Yeah. This gives the whole decor faceplate thing. Like I always want to do more creative stuff, and this kind of gave me an outlet to do that because like the whole system's functional, but this adds like a whole nother element to it.
Yeah, and is that the same like rail plate system as the other ones, or?
Oh yeah. So I got a couple different faceplates, but like what this one does, I got some somewhere. I brought in so many drawers that now I don't know where all my stuff is. Oh yeah, I got like some of this stuff are just prototypes I haven't released yet, but like they all attach in some different way.
I'm so on board with this.
I know, right?
I'm so on board.
Playing around with. Yeah, because it's like some of these are real Legos. I just stuck them on there, but
the faceplate printed plate?
Yeah. So I think. Let me see.
Oh man, I'm so on board. I was in here and I was looking at this and I was thinking like, man, these would be good for organizing Lego pieces. But like, that's perfect because instead of labeling or trying to print out a little picture of what bricks are in the drawer, you can just put one of them on the front.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So like if you're organizing a large Lego collection, and if you've got a drawer that's divided for some of the smaller pieces, you can put like a piece in the middle to divide it and show what's on the inside. I love this.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've never showed anyone this yet, so this is like the first time.
I'm so on board. This is a hot exclusive.
Exclusive.
Yeah. I love this. So is it something you're planning on releasing at some point then, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like what I've been mostly doing is like,
hey, if you need somebody to do some testing, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've also been I've been kind of working on my own Lego 3D printable Lego like train track designs too. So I'd love to possibly compare some notes there on what's been getting you some good clutch power and stuff. Because there's a reason there's like 37 of these sitting on my desk right now because I've been having the hardest time kind of getting to tolerances where I'm comfortable with it.
So it's funny you have just kind of segueing off a little bit.
Yeah.
The are you big into like train sets and stuff at all, or is just? Oh, okay, that's cool. Because I grew up
next to me. I've got 2 Lego train cars that I was working on for a friend.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I grew up like my dad ended up an older gentleman passed away, and his wife wanted to get rid of their train set, and they had one of these old train sets that was
You made it sound like he passed away, and she was like, "Finally."
yeah. No, I don't know how their relationship. But anyways, my dad ended up like agreeing, like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it. I've got kids and stuff." And so I grew up with this giant train set in our base. Like it's big. Like it's probably like I don't know, 10 by 10 feet.
That's so cool.
The guy made a whole town, mountain, and all that stuff, and it's my parents got a house cat. I'm like trying to be in the camera.
It's okay.
But they got a house cat at one point, and that thing was like King Kong. It just go in there and just like rip the trees out, chew on everything, break the power. Like it just it's a like World War III happened on that train set. So that's one thing. One of my missions, I do want to go through and just print things and kind of revamp it, you know. And I think
I know there's been a lot of resin printing in the model train community as well.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to get into. It's just one of those things where it's like I'm very like devoted to working on this, and like to jump it on those other fun projects. It's kind of a lot of I don't know. It's just balancing out your time, you know, what you can do.
Do you have any kind of like carrying hand? Like, are the drawers designed like strong enough that you can turn it into like a carrying case?
Yes. So actually, yes and no. So that's actually something.
Because currently, this is my terrible solution for all my Lego train track.
Yeah.
And if I could customize some drawers and put a handle on the top that just like slides the tracks into some, that would be a good solution. Just saying.
Well, so let me see, is the top of this? So let me take a little bit off. I can't really tilt. Oh, duh. Camera's portable. So
I love that. I can see that thought process happening too. You're like, if I tilt it forward, the drawers are all going to fall out.
Yeah. Oh, camera, come with me. So this I mean, the cover and everything. So how I designed that in two parts. You lock this in place by putting an M3 screw in the back.
Okay.
But like you can look over here how I mounted this. I kind of thought about this in the design where I'm locking this down using that back screw. Plus I have a separate screw hole in the front.
Okay.
So I could put handles on that, and that was kind of my thought. Or I could design a completely different cover that's
already got a handle built in or something.
Yeah, maybe it has to be a little stronger because that's one thing too. Is like I'm not an engineer, but I don't know. Maybe you were like this too. I grew up like Connects and Legos and all that stuff, and Connects are really like I think an important influencer on this project.
Oh yeah.
Like, I learned very quickly like if you don't build a lattice structure, your tower that's just rods are just going to collapse. And I used to build things to the ceiling.
This is making a lot of sense too. The love for Lego and Connects and stuff. That there's where your inspiration behind keeping things backwards compatible and making sure the compatibility works. Because you could take Lego bricks from the 90s and plug them into a set that you buy today. So like, I think that's where some of that stuff's coming from with you as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's fun. So like, here's kind of a crazy mod. This is probably like 20 pounds right here.
Whoa! Yeah, and it's nice and it's sturdy.
Yeah, this is
around from the top.
Yeah, so like,
see, that's what always makes me nervous about 3D printing, like any kind of storage or like carrying storage solution that's not just sitting on a desk. Is that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
like I'm always concerned about if it's like depending on like if the layer lines are going. If the weight is going along where the layer lines are, if it's going to snap on me at some point, that always makes me worried.
Well, that's what like this whole system, like in theory, where how the rails are, they should be weak because it's like you're making them on like stacked on layer lines. But I think because it's distributed across a like large area, it's surprisingly strong.
Have you done any kind of like weight testing on it or?
Yeah, so this was actually my weight test.
Okay.
So I have in here like bolts and screw, like they're loaded. So I had a box of screws and stuff that I got from work that they don't want anymore, and like it just it's heavy, So and then
I'm telling you, design a plate that goes on the top that has a handle on it, and like a bottom plate that has some TPU feet,
Oh yeah.
There you go. You got a carrying case.
Well, I think this one doesn't have the feet on it. But this I've actually got, this is my only one. It's and I made it a premium model because I put a lot of like stress testing into it, and I spent way longer than I typically do on models. But this tilt drawer, I have two holes right
Oh,
here. So I actually had this wall mounted for a couple of months, and
no problem.
no problem. And it's like you can
Did you have
put an
screws?
extra,
Did you have screws in all of the spots on the back there, or just the top ones?
just the top, and then you
That's
can
so cool.
add and remove. And
Yeah.
my plan was after I'm like, there's no way it can hold 5 or 6, and it just did it, and it didn't even seem risky at all. I was thinking about just adding as many as I could until it does break, but I don't know. I'm learning more about wall mounting stuff
Hmm.
and the limits, because obviously everyone's like, oh, you should make the standard drawer fit on there, and I'm like, there's a torque factor, because it's you put I wish I had one of these apart. Anyways, yeah, you if I were to put holes on the back of this, and then it
Yeah.
you put a little bit of force here, it's going to snap something. But
Yeah.
if you look at these drawers, they're much shorter.
Right.
So it's especially that one.
Well,
is,
and they're shorter and they're a little bit thicker, like taller.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and is that all one piece or no, it's not.
Oh yeah, like this right here. I'm just separating it.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to pronounce this. Nagano 3D.
Yes.
The Last Starfighter. Yes, sir. Wasn't that so? Wasn't that the movie that was it was a company that was wanting to do Star Wars, I think, and they wanted to show digital ships, and they did like a I don't know if it was the Last Starfighter or not, but I know that they did a proof of concept where they took some X-wing models and made them fly in 3D CG space and all this stuff, and George Lucas was like, nope, it doesn't look dirty enough, and ended up going with the actual physical models on blue screen route. But then they took everything they learned from doing that and turned it into The Last Starfighter to be like, yeah, well, screw you, we can make a whole movie with digital starships, something like that.
I do have to say too, I've been seeing Nagano's projects lately. They're really cool because he's been making props, from I think Star Trek and stuff.
Okay,
they're cool.
I haven't seen these. I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, so I just don't see a lot of stuff like that. At least,
well, for Star Trek, yeah. There's not a whole lot for Star Trek. I make a lot of Star Wars stuff, and I've got a friend who is really into Star Trek, and there's not a whole lot out there for him.
Have you grown up in Michigan? Did you ever go to the Henry Ford Museum?
Yep. Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, Maker Faire Detroit took place at the Henry Ford Museum, and I went there
in 2019.
Yeah,
I was there too.
You gotta be kidding me, dude.
I met Nicholas from Prusa there, and
yep.
I'm trying to think of who else. I've only been to that museum twice, and it's literally one of my favorite places on earth. It's just so cool.
It's so cool. And well, and also talking about, being interested in trains and model trains and stuff, the fact that there were people, and then they for the Maker Faire Detroit, they kind of put themes of people and displays in areas that made sense in the museum. So all the people who were doing anything Maker Faire related that were related to model trains were in the train section of the museum. And it was so cool having a full size real engine in the middle of that giant not station but entryway, where they bricked off the walls, and it's the original track and everything, and then right next to you is the Maker Faire model train display.
It was cool because that big huge train in there, it's one of the last big steam engines. It was made for World War II because they could haul more stuff with steam power.
And it's the massive one that's at the front of the line that you can take and stuff. Yeah.
And when I was little growing up, we used to have a train track that went through our hometown here, and it was the 1225. It was the sister train to that, and it's the one they used in the Polar Express. So okay. I don't know, just getting off about that's it's cool.
Oh man,
yeah. Now I think about it, I had a lot of train.
That's super cool. We've got in Fort Wayne, we had the 765, which is one of the few from the Nickel Plate Railroad that would go back and forth between New York and Chicago, I think.
Oh, okay.
And they had, I think, they had a thing recently where it was like the anniversary of its sister engine that had been in some sort of accident quite a few years ago, and they renumbered it for a day or something like that. But Fort Wayne has a really active and talented. I'm off on a bunny trail again. They have a really active and talented railroad historical society. Well, they have
okay.
when I used to live there, they had like 15 or 20 some odd members, and they had full engineer uniforms with custom embroidered patches and everything, and they had the 765 that they would just volunteer and keep running. You know, they obviously had, you can't buy parts for those things, so they had machinists in the club that would make custom pieces to repair the locomotive and everything, and they also had like a caboose and a couple other passenger cars and stuff that they kept in remodeled working order
Wow.
on a regular basis. And it was so, they take that engine out to I think Cuyahoga, I think is how you pronounce it, Cuyahoga National Park, to do like a tour every year to take passengers through the national park Sorry. They even sorry, one more thing. They even I'm not there for it now. It made me upset. I don't know if they're actually doing it now though, so I may not have actually missed out. But when I was moving, they released plans to like, it was such a big deal for Fort Wayne that they released plans to put a roundhouse in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, with the idea being one bay was going to be for parking and maintaining the locomotive, a couple bays for the cars, and then the other empty bays, because it's not going to be full of trains, obviously it's not the 1940s, but the other bays would be sections of the museum, so you'd be able to walk through the roundhouse and there'd be a section where you could see the engine being remodeled and being worked on and in functioning order, but then the actual, like, the turntable would be connected to different tracks that would go through downtown or lead all the way to Cuyahoga National Valley. And like, anyway, we don't have a railroad historical society in Little Rock. So.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I feel like the only exposure I get now is, like, I love going to museums if I'm driving to an event or something. Even when we went to Rocky Mountain Rep Festival, I think my buddy and I stopped at.
Hang on. Tech Jeeper says there's a strange intersection between 3D printing and trains. Yeah, it's called autism.
Yeah.
Like, we got the tism, dude. Like,
yeah. Well, I guess going back first, I'm jealous, Tech Jeeper, that you got to ride on the 1225. I live near it.
That's awesome,
and I still haven't done that. But second of all, we really segued from the one thing I was bringing up, because at Henry Ford Museum.
Yes, that's where all that started.
Sorry. It all started there. I was gonna say, I don't know if it was that same event. It couldn't have been. They always have something going on there, but they had like they'll do like movie props and stuff sometimes. They had all the Star Trek props from over the years, and like, the models of the spacecrafts, but they're tiny because they just did the and made it look like it was in space. They had like the guns. They had the everyone's gonna murder me, or whatever the cube thing.
Oh, like the Borg cube.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They had all that stuff, but it was like, it looks impressive on like the old screen, but when you see it in person, you're like, man, if only they had a 3D printer, it would look a lot better, And it's like, honestly,
the coolest part though is like, there was a multi-part documentary on Netflix or on Disney Plus. I think it was called Light and Magic, maybe, but it was about ILM and how it got started, and the original guys who started it, like Phil Tippett and those guys, and like, it's so crazy how much they accomplished just like walking into a big warehouse full of garbage and saying, well, what could we glue together and not even spray paint, just paint, what can we like, and how do we light this thing with like actual light bulbs? And I don't know, it's just nuts. It's nuts, and I love it.
That's a funny moment I remember at 3D Printopia when I actually got to go around. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember his name, but he had all the gun like weapons and all like 3D printed stuff. And he had the BFG 9000, and I just remember
you're talking about Midnight Giant.
Was it Midnight Giant?
Michael.
was right across from Cocoa Press. I'm trying to remember.
Was it the bearded printer guy? No. Was he next to Jerrari3D, who is another person I forgot to mention earlier that's got really good design and branding?
Metalhead Printing. Thank you, Daddy.
Metalhead. Yeah, Metalhead. Yep. That's what it was.
Yes, that's okay. Yeah,
because that's why my brain went to the
I know, right? But yeah, I just remember walking up to it and like he's like, yeah, you can hold it. I'm like, oh my, like, I mean, that was probably the biggest 3D print I've ever held. Like he glued it together, printed everything. But I was like thinking of like movie props and stuff. I'm like, this would have been like epic, you know, like,
oh yeah,
like as a, but it was so much fun to hold because it was I don't know, you play video games and stuff and you see the weapons on there, but it was like to actually like, I don't know, it was one of those things like I don't print stuff like that at all, and I don't know, it kind of makes me want to.
Have you ever seen Aaron the Galactic Armory where he made the full size Master Chief and Arbiter statues? Yes. Like the Halo 3 style Arbiter.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
So cool. So,
yeah, I'm excited to see more stuff
3D like that. Printing guy with a beard, that really narrows it down. Well,
I do want to show it too. Like, just really quick. I just thought of like some other fun things. This is something I'm working on, but I'm like, I released it. I think it's pretty good, but I was playing with part and I lost it. So this was something. I don't have the old one, but I was tired of like printing labels. I don't know if like you guys print like 3D print the labels, because I find it very annoying to use the label maker. Like one of these things, because it's like you're always cutting and
again, style is a thing too, and the label makers is just you can tell it's made with a label maker every time.
Right. Yeah. So
let's make something prettier.
Like this is what I came up with, just like a simple little thing. And like I created this mechanism in here. Let's see if this camera wants to. All right, cool. But essentially what this does is like after you print them, they just snap in there and like they stay in there. And then
and then how do you get it out?
So it's like, I guess you call it a little compliant mechanism. Like you can kind of push down and then it comes out.
Okay.
But
that's cool.
I kind of want to do more testing and make sure it works good on like all printers. Cause like my problem is like, I keep like, I don't know. I have had a couple different printers, but I really like Prusa because they always have the, upgrade kits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, anytime I'm going to come out with that, I'm just like, yes, I'm on board. I want to get that. And, they do print really well, but again, like that's where I'm like, I got to go back to my old printers and just see if they're going to work well for others. Cause I worry if I release models that, 2/3 of the people are going to be like, this didn't work. And I got to figure out why, Yeah, exactly. So a lot of this, like I sent like club members early prototypes. And then usually I'll use my club a lot as like, I want to, a benefit to them to give them early access to some new things I'm thinking, but also just so I'm not like giving it to everyone and I'm going to run into a lot of like, like the club members are usually really good about like, hey, I think you should adjust this or something. But if you give it to everyone, you're going to have that like, this is terrible or, something. It usually doesn't happen, but I worry.
Doing it with club members is people who are there to, so they're literally there because they want to support you.
Right.
So like somebody's not going to pay to be a member of the club and then be like, well, this is terrible, because like they're there because they want it to be good.
Yeah. And honestly, like saying that too, I didn't know what to think. Like I remember I started my club, it was about 1.5 years ago. And I was like, I actually started as cheap as I could on printables. Cause I'm like, I don't even know if anyone will join, I don't know. It was one of those things. I didn't know how to gauge my project or any of that stuff. And I'm like, well, I guess the worst thing I do is not try. So
yeah,
I started it. And like, I remember the first month I had like 5 people and I was like, this is awesome. Like those are the things that like motivate me.
Yep.
And now I'm kind of like, oh my God, like I don't know, it's just been growing and growing, and I'm like, all right, I gotta like step up my game, you know, like obviously like this many people like are into it now, and I don't know, I've never had a hobby where I could feel this committed to it and it like paid back, you know. Like I was really into like working on cars. Like I have a 95 Camaro, and I loved working on that, but it was just like a money pit, you know. It's like you could I would do everything myself. I fixed the AC system. I do all, you know, all that stuff. And but you still, at the end of the day, you spent $500 on something you're like driving like 5 times a year, you know. Like, At the printer, I'm like, I'm going to use it all the time. And now I'm like, oh, I can print parts to fix the car. So I'm like, that's an even, there you go, another thing.
Now I'm seeing some crossover.
Yep. So actually, I might start getting into that here soon. Since it's from the 90s, it's like what do you call it? Like a McDonald's play place inside those 90s cars. So
it's all
a lot of plastic. So what a little more plastic hurt, you know? So I don't know.
So real quick, one more thing, and then we should probably go through hot makes, because Zombie just brought it up too. I did not realize it had already been an hour and a half. I had no idea that much time had passed.
And you're worried this is going to be a short one.
Well, I was worried it was going to be a short one because I'm like I always feel awkward like not having Jim's like personality. He's got that kind of like, he used to be a DJ, so he has that personality for presenting, you know. I'm usually the guy who's behind the camera, putting the talent in front of the camera. So anyway, speed of cars, when we were in the green room, you started explaining this, and I was like, no, wait. Tell me on the show. And then we never actually covered it yet.
No.
So you said, I asked you how it was pronounced. It's Jerrari. So it's Ferrari with a J. And then I saw the cars behind you.
It's super silly. I think it was when I bought like Xbox Live or something. I had to come up with a gamer tag, right? And I'm like,
is it an Uncle Jesse situation?
Oh yeah, I'm like, well, my name's Joey, and like, I don't know, what's a cool car? I'm like, oh, Ferraris or something, and I was like, oh yeah, that works. And like, so I don't honestly, it kind of like,
no, it's
fine,
cool.
You know, I kind of had to get over that mentality of like how I came up with it. Like, there's no cool origin story to that, but it's just been one of those things. Like, I've just always used it as an account name, and since this kind of grew bigger than I was expecting, I'm like, I'll just lean into it and like go with it. But it is funny because like most people like, how do you pronounce that and stuff? I'm like, it's literally
what it looks like.
What it looks like. It's not but I don't know. I'm like,
mine was not nearly as cool, so I don't use that on things. But yeah, that was I believe that's Uncle Jesse's story too, because his name isn't Jesse, you know. But his we asked him a few times. I don't remember if we asked him when he was on the show or if I just talked to him in person about it. But it was basically the similar kind of thing where he was like, he did a random name. He did, you know, when you could sign up for Xbox Live, if you can't think of a username, you do the thing where it just randomly generates the things. Yeah. And he did a random generator thing, and the first one was Uncle Jesse, and he's like, yeah, that's good enough. And that's what he's used since then.
That should just be how we all make our names, you know.
Yeah. There might be maybe that's where Zombie Hedgehog came from, or Tech Jeeper. You know, we don't know.
It would be a good thing to just figure out where everyone's name came from, because it would probably make a fun little like backstory.
Filament stories of people's usernames. All right, man. Let's go through hot makes. You want to go through hot makes with me?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
All right, let's do it. I had to make this full screen to start. It's too
and this was the glitch last week.
Yeah, right? From last week or the last episode.
Oh, and he disappeared. Is that where the I fall and I can't get up thing is?
Yeah, there was something else that happened there that was like I can't remember now, but I'm pretty sure he was like trying to get something off the floor or something like that, and he made that. Yeah, he made that comment. He's like, "I've fallen and I can't get up," and it was unrelated to the blue face thing. But like, yeah, he crawled under his desk to fix the Tech Jeeper said to fix the camera issue.
Yeah, and the only thing photoshopped in this is the logo.
Just the logo, yeah. And of course I had to use Comic Sans, you know, but like,
oh yeah.
And I meant to do. I was doing it so fast while we were on the show that like I originally put it in quotes, and then I was like, no, the quotes isn't as fun. It's funnier if it doesn't have quotes. But then I didn't remove both of the quotes. I left the one at the beginning, but removed the one at the end. And then I was like, oh, it'd be funnier if it was all lowercase, but I still uppercased the I. I don't know. It's just it was a total mess. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. It's still my favorite though. I'm still on board. So we got the bearded printer. We were just talking. Oh, look at that. Wasn't following. Now we're following. We were just talking about the bearded printer. What do we have here? We have a little mouse that goes for a ride. Build over bot. We had them. We had one half of them on the show last episode, and a mouse by Jerrari3D.
So cool I haven't used any like of the color, like I have like
the color changing stuff.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and it's like you kind of got to figure out like how frequently it changes. I know Zombie Hedgehog talks about sometimes his stuff, but it's interesting stuff. I don't know if I have an application yet for it, but this is a good use case for it.
I think he's still, yeah, he's still in the chat too. The eye, is that painted afterwards, or is that MMU situation? Like, is that multicolor printing? Because like, I don't know. So like one of the, like, you know how, like, so one of the tricks of like, if you have a transition spool like that to make the transition go faster, he said it was MMU, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But to make the transition go faster, you put more of the same item on the bed. So you're extruding more filament per layer to get more color through. And then, you know, each item has more transition per item than if you were just print one of them. Because like I had that with like the Polymaker like rainbow pastel PLA, where it's like if I printed one item thinking it was going to be a cool transition, it was just orange. Or it was just like a red color with maybe a little bit of yellow at the top. But if you print a bunch of them, I got more of a transition on that. So I was wondering if that was MMU, like it didn't really affect the transition a whole lot. If anything, it seems like there's more blue. I don't know. That's interesting. I never thought about doing something that was non-color shifting in the MMU and see how that changes the color shift filament. So couldn't fit more than one of those on the build plate. Maxed out my build plate. Well, you got a good transition as well. So James the printer. Nobody here likes cycle is 200 grams for pastel rainbow. Ask me how I know after 10,000 prints with it. Noted. All right. I like to repost stuff. What do we have here? We have MakerMind Nexus, aka New Dan. Not to be confused with Old Dan. Look at the OG hot makes. OG hot makes on the TiVo Tarantula Pro Edge of Tech. The Edge of Tech. Oh, okay. I wish Jim was here to tell me about this because I'm not familiar with this. Is this like I think New Dan is in the chat as well. Maybe. Oh, I just saw that Brian Farmer is here. Hello, Brian. That's cool. I wish I knew. Is this just a custom cute? So, okay. One of the things that I've really been wanting to do is there's a surprising number of hot makes related designs out there, both from people who just have made things for us, or we've asked or we've commissioned somebody to make something, or like guests that have been on the show and then designed something for the show. And I really want to make a collection of it. And I don't want to do a thing where I'm just reposting somebody else's thing because that's a crappy thing to do. So I kind of want to. I've had ideas for a hot makes website for a while, and I thought it'd be cool to have like a catalog of hot makes and the Edge of Tech stuff, like the torture toaster. I've been seeing people posting the torture toaster just like randomly on YouTube Shorts and stuff, and I'm like, people are still using that. That's awesome. Anyway, that put me on that tangent. I don't know why I'm still talking. Llama always sharing awesome stuff. I don't know no clue what or why, but it's intriguing. Let's see. Of
Well,
course.
that rod, that's like a dual directional thing, so it must get to the end and then it can go back. But there's other stuff going on in there that's very mechanical.
Okay, so I love. Okay, I have not clicked play yet. You can see I paused it very early, like it went 3 seconds, and then I kept going because I try not to look at hot mix before we start. Is that what you think is like? Because look at this at the end, the channel goes down. So do you think it's kind of picking something up and going back and forth?
I bet that track it's going to cause a mechanism to maybe drop that stuff down. It's
and it looks like it looks like there's gears mounted here with a motor down here.
Yeah,
that's translation. How do I do the translate selection to English? This is the latest compilation. Thanks. That did not help. All right, let's see what happens. I think we're on the right path here.
Oh,
yeah, wow. That's cool.
That is crazy.
Oh, interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Why the platform? Well, yeah, because it can continue to go back and forth, but interesting.
You know what they should have done? Make it slide back to the starting position, and then it just picks it up, it drops it, and then it slides back.
That's cool.
That is.
It's mesmerizing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Again, going back to trains, this is one of those things, kind of like the connecting rods on a steam locomotive, where it's like you just want to sit here and watch it and see all the different components moving.
And the wild thing, like, this is obviously someone who's very like mechanical engineering minded and all this stuff, because it's like you literally have I think one gear that's causing it to do all this stuff. Like that shaft is doing. You have one
single source of motion.
Yeah, that's wild.
Also, I don't think I've noticed. Is this one of those like? Oh no, never mind. Okay. This whole time we were looking at it, I was like, I don't know if I've seen it. Is it an infinite loop situation? But no, it's not. It would have been interesting if it was. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna go back and looking at it a little bit more. Liz, what do we have here? Silverback Creations, Warhammer 40K Chainsword.
Wow.
That's cool.
Dang.
Can I make this Yeah, there we go. Get a close up of those guys. Look at that. That's awesome. I wonder if there's like something in the center holding it together, maybe.
Yeah, that's always impressive when like you can't see the seams very well or anything.
And yes, those are VHS tapes and a working VCR.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, man,
nice. That's awesome. Man, that turned out sweet.
I think I
saw. It might have been Aaron at Galactic Armory again. Somebody designed a chainsword recently that had like moving blades or the moving teeth. It's that and the Lancer from Gears of War are two gnarly looking. If they were real, that would be a problem.
But it probably weigh like 200 pounds.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, also, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Warhammer. It's one of those things where I could tell I would get sucked into it, so I'm actively trying to avoid it, but it's hard, especially with the recent like shows and stuff that have come out. But you've seen some of the pictures. I mean, those dudes are like
the models are
massive. But I mean, like they're big and beefy, so of course you're gonna have a chainsaw sword. They could probably pick up 3 of those. All right, so local maker. What do we have here? We have 3D printed ride on a hot dog. Nerdy Jim needs this for. Is this gonna be safe to like? Well, obviously it's on YouTube too. I don't want to get. So we're just gonna skip through it. But oh snap! Look at that. Oh. Or you could not go to the right spot, Caleb. That would work too. Looks like it's printed in separate sections.
Yeah, I wonder how.
Check that out.
It's like a shell, but I'm wondering how they assembled it. who's that? Emily, the engineer that did the big benchy boat.
Cockroach. Or
Oh,
the,
yeah,
the
she did
big,
that
like
too.
the SpongeBob thing.
Yeah, but she did that, and then she did the giant benchy boat that actually could go in the water, and she used 3D gloop for that. So I'm wondering,
Okay.
like if this is the same thing where it's like just 3D gloop the whole thing together.
That's big. Okay, so it looks like it has some sort of internal structure too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they got
The bike?
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a bike. Okay.
Wait, it's only got 2 wheels, so it's like gotta stay
Oh, I don't like it
balanced.
now. Okay. When it
Now they're
starts getting
painting it.
painted, I am much more uncomfortable with this. I don't like when it starts getting like actual hot dog colors on it. It feels weird. What? This is some oh man. Sam needs to see this too. Sam and the Offset crew.
Oh, it's motorized.
Oh, okay. Well, this is fun.
Yeah.
There's
It is.
You've heard of the Wienermobile.
I could see the Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile coming down through a parade and having
Oh
like
man,
20 of
with
those
four or six like lining either side as like security vehicles. Yeah. Or like a really weird version of the Dark Knight where like the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile like opens up in the front and one of these like hot dog bikes comes out.
Oh.
Like Batman.
Emergency vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a collapsible table.
So what do we have here? Is it collapsible? Oh, it is. But it's I'm confused because the top looks like it's got a bed texture.
Yeah.
But the inside looks like it's got a bed texture too.
It must be printed in separate parts and then some. Oh yeah, because it looks like they put a dowel or something in there. It also looks pretty small.
But yeah, those are for the legs, right?
Yeah.
And none of these pictures help.
But it looks, yeah. I wonder what you could do with it though. I feel like Zoolander would be like, this is a table for ants or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I have I mean, you can kind of see like the chip plywood stuff back here, but really, I don't really have we need a banana for scale. I'm still going to repost it though. Oh, I saw this. Have you seen this?
Yes. I think Pooch was talking about this because he looked it up. It's like 4 years old.
Really?
But it is impressive. Like, I'm wondering though if they did this all like in real time or if they were like, all right, that goofed up. We're gonna have to like re-record it.
But, yeah. Well,
this is
it's
cool.
sped up, but
the concept behind this is very
the only way to really like know would be if there was like a even if it was sped up, if there were no cuts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I just feel realistically though, like you with your hands, like you take it off the print and you're like, all right, just gonna push this part in here, and like 10 minutes later after like sanding or filing and like then it fits. But like this is like whoop, ease. Like I'm like, I don't know. And like the way that's picking those up, and I think
it's one of those things that's just meant to be like the gimmick is the fun part.
Yeah, that is
like also if you're thinking realistically or thinking like if you're thinking in terms of something being functional or whether or not it's actually helping a production line or something, like there's a lot of wasted space on this bed for all the tools and material and stuff. So I think it's just and there really wasn't a need to like pull that part forward either.
Yeah.
The sacrificial tool thing is interesting to me though, that it doesn't like that it just pops the tools off, instead of like parking them. I wonder why. It's so cool though. I'm criticizing it, but it's cool.
The concept here, like if you think about modern printers, like the Prusa XL, I remember when I was building that, it had, there's 5 tool heads, right? but
Right.
there's a port for a sixth one, like a cable, and it just has like a smiley face on it. And I'm like, I wonder what they're thinking with that. But it would be
Oh.
interesting, like if eventually someday it becomes a tool. And it's like, well, what do you put on that? Threaded inserts? What do you do? But like this, you could almost imagine like having a special tool head that maybe you have like a array of like different things that it grabs and it can do functions with. It's like
Okay. So like maybe something that knocks the print off the bed, but also something that applies more adhesive to the bed, and then another tool that does something else. I'm not thinking of anything, but
maybe a UV printer print. Oh, that'd be messy. I don't know. There's something, it could, we just have to think about. I think this is like a good example to kind of inspire those things.
What about there's people who do like the inset magnets in your print where you pause the print, put the magnets in, and then restart the print. I wonder if there'd be something where you could like integrate the combination of like a tool head and that magnet dispenser you showed me earlier, where like you could print, you could print a thing and like it swaps to the magnet inset tool and then pops the magnets in and then keeps printing over that, so you don't have to manually insert the magnets and restart the print kind of thing.
That would be cool. That actually, I could see that being an extremely useful thing.
And guess what? We just thought of that because we saw this thing, which we've been talking about it being cool but not very useful. Therefore, therefore the video is useful.
It is a useful thing.
Concept, got our gears turning. Fantastic. Okay, we got a few more. Sarah Oakley, Great Scott. It's a science experiment. Stop the train just before you hit the switch track up ahead. Alex T's design. I sent Alex a message a while ago. I want to get them on the show too, but I think we showed this recently, and I love Back to the Future. I love trains. I'm so on board with this. This is awesome, and I like this color scheme.
It's a very train-esque episode of Hot Mix.
It is, yeah. It is. I like the color scheme though. I'm a sucker for anything light blue, and the silk looks awesome.
Yeah, I like the models where you use silk in a like conservative way.
Yes.
Because like using matte and regular finishes and then doing that, I think it's extremely impressive because typically like when you paint a model, it's I don't think you can really get that kind of finish unless you polish things and whatnot.
Here, I don't know what's going on there. That's
weird. It almost looks like they darkened it. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, that is cool looking though. I love the color scheme. I love the model. I love the designer. It's fantastic.
That's cool.
Have you seen that video? Again, another side. Do you like Back to the Future? Back to the Future fan?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the video, or have you seen the whole thing where the kid like in the scene where the train is, the kid has to go to the bathroom, but like doesn't want to like make it obvious that he has to go to the bathroom? Have you seen that?
I don't think I have seen that.
Yeah, I forget the lady's name, but when Doc Brown comes back to the future with the time traveling train, and like he's got his two kids, Jules and Vern, and like he's talking to Marty, and then in the background, just over his shoulder, this kid's standing there, and he's like trying to nonchalantly like point to his like crotch to like tell the director he has to go to the bathroom without actually making it obvious, but like it ends up being like right in the and they made it into the thing.
No. Oh no.
Anyway, I love this. I love the color scheme. It looks like several colors of Polymaker 3D, so that's awesome. Awesome. Liz again. Okay, two things. I love Fix 'em Dude, and I love bear stuff. Love 140% Fix 'em Bear. Turned out so great. Bugman's best bear ever. Totally unbiased opinion. So this is Bugman designed it. Yeah, Bug Dude.
I like the seams and everything too.
Yeah.
Like I'm always impressed with that modeling.
Oh, and that looks like one of the Fix 'em Dude motors. That's a Batmobile. It almost looks like a separate piece. So I wonder if you could print miniature versions of any of the Fix 'em Dude models and have him hold it. This is awesome.
Very cool.
I love it. Trevor. So fact or fiction? Ancient Mayan Batman sculpture discovered. What?
Oh, so it's like a Mayan take on.
Ooh.
Oh, and it looks like what is that? Probably copper with a patina PLA.
Yeah, there's something. Oh, geez, that was loud. There's something going on with Wait, what?
Oh, wait, this is a real thing.
What? Can you hear the audio?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay, hang on. Let me see if I can share this with the audio instead, because it's a I don't know if we will I don't know if YouTube will ding us for showing this, but I gotta make this happen. Chrome tab. All right, I'll just do the tab for now and then I'll reshare. All right, so this is a thing, I guess.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're looking into a picture going around right now on social media.
This looks
claims
real.
to show an ancient Mayan sculpture that looks suspiciously like Batman. It's fiction. This picture shows
It's fiction.
I like that she paused.
2014.
Why is it? What's with the
Oh,
music?
it's actually 3D print. Okay,
Yeah,
so we
like
were right originally, and then for a moment there, I'm like, wait, this is.
So
yeah.
Okay, so did Trevor print this, and then it ended up on the news? 3D printed painted 2 years ago. I'm whatever's going on here, I love it. Somebody whatever's going on here, somebody got bamboozled, and I'm all for it.
This needs to make it to the world news.
It will. Yeah, this is like the like those aliens that were supposedly shown. I'm resharing the screen here. I need somebody to explain like I'm 5, because I'm tired at this point. I'm not fully grasping or understanding what I'm looking at. But I love it.
Oh, I did see this one today.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Fallout, so I like right away.
I'm a big fan of Christoph. I love his designs. I love the multi-layered shadow box panels. I'm glad he's kind of getting back into it. And this looks awesome. I feel like it needs, like when it's actually printed, it needs some sort of like glow in the dark or like UV glowing,
like a reactive green color. Something.
Yeah, something that looks gnarly. You know, like it's gonna make me sick if I stand too close to it.
Yeah.
All right, Liz. Oh, zombie hedgehog. What do we got here? We got a galactic voyage space exploration vehicle. There's a lot of words. Fix him, dude.
Oh, and it's in his filament.
Okay, so Fix 'em Dude created the model to showcase the Galaxy Red PLA, the Hedgehog Galaxy Red PLA by Polymaker. Okay, so it's a collab between the two of them. This is cool.
Yeah. What a
I like
good way
it.
to like combine those things.
What's a cool way to combine it's a cool way to do a collab with oh yeah, and there's Z's on the. It's a space exploration vehicle because it's galactic galaxy, or it's Galaxy Red PLA. I like this. I still have not gotten myself a roll of that, but I will be soon.
I actually pre-ordered one. I was looking the other day, and I'm like, last I counted, I had like 80 spools of filament. I mean, I every year I buy a few or whatever. And
yeah.
I'm like, man, because like I have a whole wall in my garage. I've just been adding like wrap.
Oh, he says no. Those are N's. N? Those aren't Z's. Those are N's.
Oh, okay. Wait, what's the N mean?
That's what I'm asking. You did the same thing. Oh, okay. What does the N mean?
More questions.
More questions. I love the design though. So he okay. So it was a commission. Fix 'em Dude commission. Are those Z's
just kidding.
or N's? They are N for not Z. Okay, he's
No,
just
not yeah.
Dang it, dude. All right, you got me.
But yeah,
No,
I was
been bamboozled.
I was going through and organizing all my filaments, and I'm like, I think a year ago I counted, I had 80, and I'm like, okay, I should probably that's probably good. I counted yesterday because I'm like, why do I filament on the ground? Like I'm trying to organize, you know, and I had like 140, I think, and I'm like, what is
rolls
going
of
on?
filament?
Yeah, I'm like, how did I order this many?
Dude, what? How do you? Why are they brand new?
No, I mean,
okay,
like in my, like you could kind of tell from like
yeah
stuff, but like I think part of it was like buying like a multicolor printer. I started like, okay, I just need a lot of colors and stuff, and I don't know what happened. I feel like I don't spend that much, but apparently it's a big part of my budget now or something.
I love Liz saying ZH1 stands for ZHOG1.
Yeah,
no, I love this. I kind of want to. It's on Maker World here. Yeah, I already opened the tab. Ding dong. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and save that for later. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Another zombie. Oh, now zombie is sharing Liz's posts. What is this? What is this? Z and Z? No, I love it. So this looks like another Panchroma Satin Rainbow Gradient. Yeah, okay. So Liz was just talking about this earlier. This is that pastel rainbow that we were talking about.
Yeah,
that looks so good,
and it's functional. You know, it's cool because
it can hold your eggs.
Yeah. That looks good.
I know. Have you seen these? They're clicky prints.
Oh, I did see those. Yeah, they have like a mechanism in them, right?
Yeah, apparently there's somebody who sells like just bags of they're like keys. Like keyboard keys, but without the guts. It's just the clicky part of the keyboard key. And this person, I forget their username. I was looking at a lot of their stuff recently. It's James the Printer. Oh, he's in the chat. Designed the shelf, but forgot the name of the person who designs the little clicky dudes. Ludo. That's it. That's what it was.
That's clever.
Yeah. There's a lot of the color, the makers, the designers, the prints. There's a lot of hot makes going on here. This is awesome. Love it. Okay, I think that's it. That's all we got for today. We made it. We survived.
It wasn't the longest episode, but we got through. Actually, it was a pretty long one.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. No, it was fun.
But yeah, I'm not. So one more time, let's just do the one more time, and then let's just go ahead and sign off because It's been 2 hours. Thanks for the folks who have hung around. I am getting kind of tired, but I'm very on board with all the conversations that we had. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you hanging out.
Hey, anytime.
But one more time for those who don't know, which they should know by now. It's been 2 hours. Just run people through one more time. Who are you? What do you do? And where can people find you?
So I'm Joey, or Jerrari, Jerrari3D. Is my tag. You can find me actually Jerrari3D.com. I struggle to remember that. That's a website I created to dedicate to my project to help navigate you to your favorite website to download models from. So I'm working on trying to get my project everywhere. The majority is on printables and things right now, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's everything. I don't really have.
Yeah, and there's a link on your website too to like your things profile, your printables profile, your YouTube.
Oh yeah. I guess I do make YouTube videos once in a while. So
I put all of that stuff. All that stuff is in the
sweet
the description.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that'll help. That's half the battle is just trying to get everyone to find the stuff. You know, I feel like I'm directing traffic a lot of times.
All right, so yeah, if you guys if you guys aren't already, you should definitely follow the link in the description and go follow Joey's designs, so we can get our hands on the sweet Lego faceplates as soon as they come out.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. All right, let's call it. Joey, thanks for joining us. Everybody else who's been watching, thanks for hanging out. And next episode, we will have Jim back. I bet, probably.
Yep.
All right. Joey, hang around. When the stream ends, we'll still be in the. What is it? There's the green room before the show. After the show? Is that the red room? I hope not.
I've only used this once before, so
I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and end it later.